Hi everyone, in today's video I'll be drawing 5 from the Umbrella Academy. I'll be talking about the process and what materials I'll be using, so grab your sketchbook and draw with me. So before I start, I usually do swatches on a piece of paper of what markers are close to his skin tone. The rest are the colors for his suit. I use the markers as a base because later on I'll be going in with color pencils. For me, it's very important to get the base as close to his skin tone as possible. I start by using a E00 and a E000 Copic marker, and I do each part in sections, so it can look nice and even. I do go back in using the same colors to darken certain areas in the face. I then move on to color pencils. This for me can get a little complicated because there's so many colors to choose from. The colors you select depend a great deal on the skin tone of a person you are drawing. Not only do you have to consider whether they are light, medium, or dark skin, but you also should pay close attention to their skin undertones. Some have more pink undertones while others might have an olive tint. Pay close to these details will help you narrow down the colors you will need. For my piece, my undertones are neutral, so the colors I chose are burnt ochre, Van-dyck brown, raw umber, and walnut. There are 3 types of undertones: cool, warm, and neutral. I apply small circular strokes slightly around his face to avoid any lines and streaks. You will see me move to different sections of his face, but I'm still using the same colors, just applying another layer of color to his face. For the corner of his eyes, I used burnt ochre, peach, and raw umber, then black for his eye creases and his eyelashes. I want his eyelid to be a little darker than the other eyes, so I used Cool Gray 5, Walnut Brown, Seashell Pink for the highlight, and Van-dyck Brown. I do everything still in circular motions. I did lose footage of me coloring his iris, but the only colors I used were olive green and black. Once I finish with the eye, I move on to his lips. So for his lips, I use burnt ochre, black, processed red, medium flesh, and peach. Now that his lips are finished, I move outward to the rest of his face. So for the blood, I wanted to use a different type of red since it's a little darker. So I used poppy red, Cadium red, Tusan red, and pomegranate. On his other side of his face, I noticed that it was more of a pink tint around his cheeks. I grabbed my undertone colors, which are blush pink, Deco peach, pink rose, and medium flesh. You will also notice that I use a white marker, and I use it to brighten certain areas in his face. The marker is called a Pinto touch pin in 10 millimeter. his hair, I use black, and phthalo blue and sky blue for the highlights of his hair, and cool gray 5 for the midtones. I also do downward strokes instead of circular motion since I want his hair to have texture and look more realistic. I do go back in with the Prismacolor colorless blender to darken certain areas in his face.